What's up guys? Welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the vlogs. Today's mission is to completely go through and get this head ready to bolt on to the short block whenever we can get the short block assembled. This thing's completely bare, no valves, no cams, no nothing in it. Freshly Cerakoted yesterday and it turned out beautiful. So that is today's goal. It should be easily obtainable if we don't run into any sort of issues. This is everything going into the head. We have all the valves, MAP, beehive springs, Kelford 280R cams, all of the rockers and hydraulic lifters, the factory springs that we don't need, and all the cam caps. Right off the bat, I already see an issue. It's not a big issue, it's a little issue, but it's still, nonetheless, it's still an issue. All of these little heat shields that go on the head are filthy, and they're like spray painted, like a weird, ugly color. So there's two of those heat shields, the little shield things. And then we have the cam position sensor housing and the cover as well. And there's no way I'm gonna assemble these nasty parts onto our brand new head and our brand new build. Back to Cerakote we go. Being that it's like a 2 or 3 hour process to get those done, I'm just gonna do that right now, get them out of the way, and while they're in the oven, we can work on other stuff. Let's get them sandblasted and Cerakoted, that same satin aluminum. I thought we were done with Cerakoting, but it turns out we're not. This has to be the last stuff. There's no way we have more than this. You guys want to see the importance of pre-baking before you Cerakote? Check this out. I realized we got to do the cam gears as well because they were all rusty and crusty. Cleaned them, blasted them, cleaned them. Everything was perfectly clean. They both look like that. Put them in the oven for 1 hour. Look at how much oil came out of the gear. Like there's no holes or oil orifices on the gear. All that was apparently soaked into the steel of the gear. That's crazy. So this thing needs to be completely re-cleaned, blasted, and pre-baked again. And we have to do that, keep repeating that process until that stops happening. Okay, Cerakoted parts are all finished up. I'll have the Cerakote down below. Let's move on to cleaning up some head stuff. I'm gonna save the head for last because it's very, very sandy from the sandblast job. So let's do these first. These are all the cam caps. Thankfully they are all numbered, which is handy. Instead of using like 5 cans of brake clean today, I'm just gonna throw a little bit of gas in this drain pan, grab a soft bristle brush, and just brush all of this oil and grime off these things. So we got the rockers all cleaned up, all the cam caps, cam bolts, all those are cleaned. Not 100%, we're gonna do one quick brake clean spray off right before we assemble, but all the oil and dirt and grime is off. Let's move on to these hydraulic lifters. So these things need to be bled. It's a very, very simple process once you understand how they work. So the only thing you're gonna need to bleed this hydraulic lifter is something little, like an Allen wrench. Let's do a 1.5 millimeter Allen wrench. Just a little guy. So we're gonna take this Allen and your hydraulic lifter. We could probably do even a little bit bigger Allen, but this will work fine. Flip the hydraulic lifter over, insert the Allen into the hole, and press down. And as you can see, all that oil comes out. Pump it a few times, and now the hydraulic lifter will compress. Let me show you one that's not bled. This lifter is not bled, and I'm pushing as hard as I can. The thing will not compress whatsoever. So you have to do this every time you pull out a lifter, or you could risk bending some valves. We have all of the valve train cleaned up, ready to go. Let's move on to the head. The pan is all cleaned up, so I'm gonna show you guys how much sand actually comes out of that thing. Let's go ahead and get it cleaned up. See all that sand? Honestly, I thought there would be more, but still, that is definitely enough to take out an entire engine. All right, let's start getting this thing thrown back together. It's all cleaned up, perfect, brand new, ready to go. All new valve guides, cut seats, ground valves. This thing should be perfect. I'll have the seals. These are GSC seals. I'll have these down below, as well as the MAP valve springs. I thought I ordered retainers as well, but apparently I didn't order retainers. So we are going to be forced to use our factory retainers, which kind of sucks, but they should work fine. You'll also need a valve spring compressor. This thing was like $30 or $40 on eBay. So I'll toss this down below as well if you guys want to go ahead and do this yourself at home. Let's pop all of these valve seals on. It's the first thing we need to do. They're the same intake and exhaust. So we're just going to dab a little bit of oil on the seal itself and push it down onto those valve guides. Next up, I'm going to install all of these valve spring seats, just so I don't forget. All right, let's move on to throwing some valves in this thing. So I'm going to start with the intake first. The intake valves are bigger. That's how you know they're intake. So intake versus exhaust. I'm just going to take the valve, dip it in a little bit of oil, and slide her up through the guide. Spring goes on, grab a retainer, slide that guy on, grab the compressor, compress the spring and the retainer, and then slide on to the keepers. So these keepers have a little groove on them, or like a little, what would you call it? Like a little step. And that step on the keeper slides right into that groove on the valve itself. All right, my friends, the head is all finished up. I'm not gonna install the cams or any of that stuff until we actually get the head installed onto the short block, just in case we have to pull the cams back out for anything. I'm still trying to figure out and get these cam gears Cerakoted. This is the third time we've had to bake them, and there's still a little bit of oil coming out, so I'm gonna continue to do that until there's nothing left. In the meantime, I have something very, very exciting to show you guys. If you've been following the channel for a while, you know that JD Customs has been a huge help, a huge supporter of the channel with all their titanium stuff and all the parts that they put out. We have a ton of their parts on this car here. So let me go ahead and pop the hood. I know she's extremely dirty right now, but pop the hood. And let me show you guys all the parts that we have on this car. There's a lot. So titanium, pretty much everything's titanium, so I'm not gonna say titanium 1,000 times. Fender bolts, strut tower hardware for the coilovers and in the center, their show series coil unplug kit, radiator brackets, hardware for the headlights, front bumper, fenders, overflow, power steering reservoir, all the hardware for the exhaust manifold. Yeah, we got a lot of their titanium hardware on this thing. And being that we're going pretty much all out on this Evo 8 engine bay on the blue car, they stepped up and sent over a ton of parts for this build as well. I don't think I want to show you guys everything today. I'm just going to show you some stuff because I want to show you guys the color that we decided to go with on the titanium this time around. There is a lot of stuff in this box. Oh my gosh. So these here are the radiator brackets, but I'm looking for the turbo manifold hardware, and I want to see, actually, you know what, let's just pop out these radiator support brackets, and I want to set one up on the car and kind of get a rough idea of how everything's gonna flow. Oh my gosh, this color's insane. We were trying to match the wrap, is kind of the game plan with this titanium. It's just such a nice blue. That's how she's gonna look. Wow, that's beautiful. Okay, well, let me put these back in the box. We're not gonna be installing those for a while. This here is the product I was looking for. This is the titanium turbo manifold stud kit. So we did black studs, blue washers, blue nuts. This is gonna look crazy. I'm gonna go ahead and get these factory studs pulled out. We're just gonna use the double nut method. So you thread a nut down, another nut on top of that, crank them together, and all of these studs will pop out. Here's a good little before. It's nice and clean, right? But it's not poppy at all. So let's make this thing pop. Okay, we got all the factory studs out. Now, as we're installing the JD Customs kit, I'm gonna be wearing gloves. You don't really wanna get any sort of oil on here, because as soon as they heat up, you're gonna be able to see exactly where all the oil was. Also, I will be putting just a tiny bit of sealant on each of the studs. I'm pretty sure every single one of these lower ones goes to either an oil or water jacket. We don't want those leaking. So let's just do a tiny bit of the right stuff by Permatex just to get these studs all sealed up. All right, we got all the studs in. Looks absolutely beautiful. Real game changer is gonna be the washers and the nuts. Okay, this color combo is insane. We have like the, I guess you'd call it the burnt titanium look on the Black 8, but man, I think this is a better combo. I don't know, they're both beautiful. This is definitely gonna match the car a lot better. Black studs, blue nuts, blue washers. absolutely crazy looking. I really want to get these cam gears finished up because there's another set of titanium hardware that I want to install. There's so many titanium pieces that go on the head. If we can get those cam gears finished up tonight, I'll show you guys what all that is. But if not, I guess you're gonna have to wait until a future episode. There's some more hardware down here. That is for the turbo 2 manifold. So it'll replace all of these crusty pieces right there. We do still need to go through this manifold and figure out what we're gonna do there. I'm not sure if we're gonna start go to black or if we should polish it. Drop a comment below actually. Drop a comment, what should we do? I think a nice like polished look. And then when it heats up, it'll kind of like have that burnt blued look. I think that would look really nice. I feel like that'd be probably a lot of work at the same time. I've been dying to see how everything's gonna look like all cleaned up, especially now that the bay is black and we have like some blue hardware. And not to forget, we do have a yellow valve cover and some other yellow stuff in the bay as well. So what I did is I set up a stool, a little stand, put the head on, put the valve cover on, just to kind of get a rough idea of how this whole thing is gonna look. I have been debating, and I kind of like talked to Bobby about it as well, about ditching the yellow on the car. I don't know though. I think the yellow and blue flow very, very nice. I'm just worried it's gonna be like too much. Thankfully, it's all super easy to change. It's the valve cover, the strut tower, or the power brace up front, strut tower bar, and the calipers. Those are the 4 yellow things on this car. That'd be like a day's worth of work to get all that shipped and recoated any other color in the world. But I think for now I'm gonna leave the yellow. It's super poppy, obviously. And I think it'll look all right, but I want it to look perfect. So we can deal with that later on. But here's kind of like a rough idea of how she's gonna sit. Now, before I forget, if you guys want to pick up anything from JD Customs, whether it be like the coil on plug system, that guy there, or any sort of titanium hardware or any other thing they carry on their site, we do have a discount code DVNiemela10. It'll save you 10% off anything on their website. So go enter that code, save you a bunch of money, get all this beautiful titanium stuff or anything else they sell, and live happily ever after. Big thank you to JD Customs for sending out all of these parts for this build. It's really taking it from like, you know, a decent build to like the next level. It's really crazy thinking back to when I originally bought the turbo kit for this car. I picked it up locally, just it randomly came up on my Facebook marketplace, and I got it for a really good deal. And the plan from the start was to slap this kind of a fatty turbo on a stock block, stock everything Evo 8, see what kind of power it would make and how long it would last. And remembering that was like the original goal to where the car is now, completely different. Like we were trying to keep it like super cheap, and now we're doing everything. It's pretty wild to see how the build has evolved, and I feel like it's kind of coming to an end already. There's honestly not that much left to do. As soon as we get that short block assembled, when we get it back from the machine shop, motor goes together, motor goes in the car, everything else is done. Like the trans is done, transfer is done. I would think that like within a week of getting the block back, this car will be 100% back on the road, which is kind of crazy because I feel like we just started. Kind of sad. With that being said, there's like honestly not a lot we can do until we get the block back. There's a few little odds and ends here, but I'm really hoping that block will come back soon. They said it'd be about a 2-week wait, and we're right at that 2-week point right now. So I'm hoping within the next few days it'll show up and we can get that thing assembled. But man, I don't know what I'm gonna do if we like don't get the block back anytime soon. Might just have to go buy another car and work on it for fun, or else it'll go crazy. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Peace out. I'll see you tomorrow.